The time has finally come for Drake's For All the Dogs. His newest studio album is dropping this Friday after being postponed a couple of weeks back. And we're going to be keeping you guys updated with every single part of this rollout. So make sure to hit that notification bell to stay tuned with this entire rollout. And if you guys do want to catch our first ever live album reaction party, make sure to tune in with us Friday at midnight. The link's available in our description or in the pinned comment. It's going to be a huge moment for us. So
it's going
to be amazing to bump that album with the whole community for the first time. But talk to me about how you're feeling with the release date, the fact that he did give himself the extra time to work on it.
Oh my goodness. I'm super happy about it because I just want a concise album. I've been saying this for every single video that we've been doing on this album and covering the rollout. I want this to feel focused, I want it to feel concise, and I just want good Drizzy music. So if that's going to take a couple of more weeks for whatever reason, maybe some new production coming through, maybe some new Drake verses that need to be done. He's also on tour, so it's kind of a hectic time for him. So be it. I'll take the extra couple of weeks, and if that means extra quality, I'm here for it. But it's been quite interesting because since a couple of weeks ago, we haven't had the most news, but it's been interesting because there's been new updates on the album that's kind of gotten people more anticipated for the album. So let's go through that, man. What do you want to start
Absolutely.
with?
I mean, first of all, I think it's just a big celebration that we're getting Drake's first ever October album and that he's dropping on the 6th. I mean, that gets me excited as a fan. And yeah, let's talk about what we do have in terms of a track list for now, because Slime You Out was the first release single for this album. That's a lock to be on the album. When number 1, big smash hit with the SZA feature. And yeah, fans seem to have loved that. It gave them a nostalgic Take Care R&B sort of Drizzy vibe. So that's locked in. We also have the song Search and Rescue, which, to be honest with you, I hope doesn't make the track list. At the end of the day, I'm hoping for a classic Drake album, because even though I've enjoyed the last couple of releases, I feel like we haven't gotten that since Views. And if Search and Rescue's on here, I don't know if that's going to, weigh it down a little bit. So I think I could speak for most of us in saying that we hope that doesn't make the album, but we also have other possibilities, such as this new Cole Bennett and Lil Yachty collaboration, because Cole Bennett just did an interview with Kids Take Over, and much love to KTO and Cole. They did a great interview together this past week, and it was interesting because Cole Bennett pretty much confirmed that this song called Another Late Night on For All the Dogs is going to be featuring Yachty, and it should be making the album, which is not a big surprise to see Drake and Yachty link up, given how close they've gotten over time. But apart from that, we also have other snippets that have surfaced. So there's the song "Okay," which has been played in the club, and people seem to love that. You have this anthemic feeling, some synth horns in there, super catchy hook.
You also have a new Yeet track that was previewed for a new Nocta campaign that featured Benny X production, and that sounded really interesting. You get these crazy drums from Benny X and just this super hectic production with, of course, this new Yeet feature. And then after that, Drake on in his IG story and said, well, new music by Twiz and The Boy.
And then Yeet ended up replying saying this one's for the dogs. So I think that's pretty much a confirmed song on the album as well. There's also At the Gates with Uzi, which has been leaked for a long time, but I think it would make a good moment to put it out.
So do you think that's going to make it? Because that's been one of the longest leaks, if that makes sense to you. That was surfacing back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like for how much hype there is around that song and the fact that it didn't come out on Pink Tape, it's bound to come out on this album. So my money would be on yes. There's also a leak called Tried Our Best that's more R&B Drizzy. A lot of people think that's going to make the track list as well. But speaking about the actual feature list, let's kind of go through what we know is going to be on it, right? So Lil Yachty's confirmed. Yeet is confirmed. Nicki Minaj and Bad Bunny are also confirmed because Drake revealed this while he was performing on stage.
Himself on,
so that's
tour.
going to happen. Burna Boy was also teasing at a Drake collab during his Complex interview, and he's like, well, we already have a song made, and Burna Boy's album just came out. So
and there wasn't anything
and there was nothing there,
okay.
So maybe this makes For All the Dogs.
Okay, so let me ask you something that's very interesting. Because back at the Montreal show at the Bell Center in our hometown, shout out to all of our Montreal fans, fantastic and beautiful city, Drake asked J. Cole to get on his own album for the next release. Obviously, maybe if it's the Fall Off or another title, whatever the case may be. So do you think you end up seeing a collaboration from them two on this album?
Bro, I've been waiting a decade for this shit. I mean, these are two of the best rappers that we have in the game right now, and to see them join forces again would be a dream come true, I think, for most Drake fans.
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to happen.
It would be interesting. Like, imagine having a feature list with Yachty, Nicki, Yeet, Bad Bunny, J. Cole. Like, it's a very diverse list of people. And to be honest with you, out of all these names, the only one that really gets me fucking pumped, bro, is that J. Cole feature. So that's the one that I'm hoping for the most. Speaking about Yeet, the snippet sounded amazing, even though I'm not particularly a Yeet fan. I do hope the song turns out well. And at the end of the day, Benny X is on there. And I think Benny X is going to play a pivotal role in the entire album on the production side of things, given that he produced Search and Rescue. He produced the song with Yeet. He's been on tour with Drake. So that's one thing I'm happy about, because I think that Benny X is one of the best working producers in the game right now. He has so much range. And I think that speaking about that current sound that Lil Yachty was teasing, I think a lot of that is going to come from the Benny X production. But let's speak about other producers that we want to see on here. So who else is in that list for you?
Boy Wonder has to be a lock. Boy Wonder is always a lock. I think that,
Vinyls. Vinyls is someone else that I want to see make this album, because when you look at the slappers that they have together, like, I want another Jimmy Cooks on this, bro.
I know.
We need something high energy.
We do, absolutely. Even looking at someone like Coleman,
Yes,
what he
sir.
did on Utopia with something like
Meltdown.
Schizo, I Know, Meltdown, just on an incredible run. Shout out to our brother Coleman. I mean, it would be incredible to see him make this track list. But even looking at, let's say, the hype behind this album now, because we are at the week of release. How do you
talk
feel
about
about
that.
it, man? How do you feel about this album? Like,
I see a lot of fans complaining. I see a lot of fans saying, oh, there's no rollout. It's just the single. And I'm like, guys, hold on a second, all right? Pump the brakes. Drake has been doing a rollout this entire fucking summer. Like, people don't realize that this tour is the rollout. Think about how many viral videos have come out of this tour. Thinking about the walkouts that he's been doing with different celebrities. Thinking about just even certain performances of certain songs that he's never performed before going viral. This has been the rollout, and people are refusing to see it, bro. Like Drake is a mastermind, and like it's a subtle rollout, but it's a very masterful and calculated rollout where he's kept his name buzzing for an extended amount of time. And even though we're now at release week and there hasn't been too much besides the single or the album cover, I think something's gonna come.
oh yeah,
There's gonna be more to come from this, and at the end of the day, Drake is just one of those artists that doesn't need a rollout, bro. He doesn't need one. He's Drake. So
I know.
even if nothing else comes from now till Friday, I'd be okay with that. But how do you gauge the hype for this? Do you think that this is one of the most anticipated, maybe since Certified Lover Boy, because it is his first solo rap album in 2 years?
Well, solo rap album. What does that mean? You're for sure
Well,
gonna.
honestly, never mind was a solo album, but you got what, 2 rap songs?
No, I get what you're saying though, but I mean, he's never really had like a solo rap quote unquote album, if that makes sense. There's always been like a blend of R&B, so
Obviously.
I don't think it's gonna be fully like that. I don't want to get anyone's expectations super
That's
high.
not what I meant by that.
No, I understand what you're getting at though, but I think the anticipation is fairly high just because of where 2023 is at as far as music goes. We've spoken about this in the past, and I feel like when you look at the mainstream for whatever release it is, it's been kind of dead. And with that being said, the last major release we got from the mainstream was Travis Scott's Utopia. And then before that, I mean, you had a run of Uzi, Gunna, Young Thug, but it's been fairly quiet for 2023 hip-hop. And I think a lot of people are looking at Drake to have this massive moment of revival to where now people are going to be able to build off the hype of his own album, whether it be, let's say, maybe a 21 Savage album that comes after this, or maybe it's another person that we don't know about, So I think that maybe you'll see sort of like this reset in the industry where people are going to be like, well, okay, let's get back to it and let's start releasing. But then again, that's just a hypothesis.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, just because Drake's always had this model of releasing an album every year on average. So it still seems like the remainder of the mainstream, hip-hop artists are not really following suit with that, and that's okay. Everyone has a different process. Everyone else wants to release when they feel ready.
I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about that whole 1 year model at this point going into this next release? Do you feel like, because I want to say this, Drake is obviously feeding his fans. I'm a Drizzy fan. I'm Canadian. I've been following his career now for the better part of close to 15 years. It's been really incredible to witness. Do you feel like as a Drake fan, you're satisfied with that one a year? I'm not saying that he has to do more, right? Because at that point, it would just be oversaturation.
Yeah.
I don't mean that, but just more of like, does he maybe take a little bit of a break after this? Does he drop, like, let's say a care package, for example, like maybe a Dark Lane demo tapes to where kind of settles it with some, unreleased stuff, something that's maybe not as solid as a Her Loss or For All the Dogs?
Well, listen, I mean, I think what's going to come next after this is going to be Scary Hours 3, which is something that I want to see badly, just because with every Scary Hours pack, I've been getting some of Drake's best music. If you want to take it back to Diplomatic Community, or if you want to jump to Lemon Pepper Freestyle or Wants and Needs, Drake always delivers with those packs because they end up being sort of testers for the upcoming big studio album. So I feel like that's what we're probably going to be in for next. And going back to your question about the 1 year model, fuck yeah, I'm happy about it. I mean, at the end of the day, if the music's quality, that's really what matters the most to me. And I feel like, there's been some amazing projects. There's been some great ones. There's been some mediocre ones out of this last couple of year stretch. But at the end of the day, he's one of the only guys keeping things exciting, bro.
I have to be completely honest
Let's be
with
real.
you. Yes, absolutely. That's what I want to say. I was having a conversation with someone last Thursday about this, actually, and it was quite interesting because we were talking about the Drake effect. And imagine Drake wasn't releasing an album this year, how dead it would be going into, let's say, 2024. I mean, for major releases, at least on what we've seen, there's really nothing on the calendar right now that's at least concrete or confirmed at the moment.
That's what I'm saying is that, like, out of all big rappers in the industry right now, he's the one that's really outside. He's the one that's active. He's the one that's feeding the fans. And like I said, everyone has their different processes. But as a hip hop fan who likes to be engulfed into the culture on like a daily, weekly basis, whatever it is, Drake is that guy that keeps shit alive.
Oh, absolutely.
So we need these constant releases. But again, if he wants to take a year or two off, it's more than merited. He's put in the work in the 2020s decade. Like, he really has.
Oh,
so
my goodness. He's been going to work, man. You've gotten collaboration albums from him. You've gotten major studio albums from him. You've gotten, like, a mixtape vibe from him. You've gotten, a dance album from him. Like, what else do you want from this guy?
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What's this album going to sound like? I mean, we've spoken about this multiple times, but now that we're at the finish line and that we have a good roundup of the features, we know what a single or two sounds like. What are you expecting sound-wise?
All right. I think it's going to be a mixed bag, man. I think you're going to get a classic Drizzy feel where you're going to be getting your R&B cuts. You're going to get your party slappers. You're probably going to get your introspective cuts. I think it's going to be also interesting to see the way that new collaborators come through and kind of form the sound of this album. I mean, we've never gotten a Yachty feature on a Drake album, which is quite interesting. I mean, seeing the way that Yeat's been on a dominant run in the 2020s decade, how is he going to play on a Drake album? It's very interesting because you look at someone like Yeat, and yes, he's been super dominant, and I think that he's amassed one of the craziest fan bases in hip-hop right now, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're playing on a Drizzy album. You have to fit into a certain model and format that's going to create the quality and that's going to be able to keep the listener engaged. So let's see how that ends up hitting. I hope to see some surprise features that I didn't expect, and I just want to see quality and consistency throughout the track list. That's the most that I could really ask for at this point in Drake's career.
Absolutely. And when it comes to my expectations, like you said, I'm expecting a Views type of album where you're getting the R&B Drake, you're getting the rapping Drake, you're getting some different styles that are super diverse, and I think that's smart. I think that's what's going to keep a listening experience refreshing from start to finish. I'm also expecting a longer album just because looking at Drake's last couple of studio albums, looking at Certified Lover Boy and even Views and Scorpion, they've all been 20 songs plus, so I'm expecting something that's maybe around that length, even though honestly mine was a bit shorter. But
is Views actually 20 plus?
It's 20 songs.
It's 20
Views
songs.
is a 20-song album. So that's what I'm expecting in terms of tracklist length. And yeah, I'm expecting Drake to talk his shit, to get controversial, maybe throw a couple of sublims. And I'm hoping for bars more than anything else. Even after hearing J. Cole on The Secret Recipe, I'm like, listen, if J. Cole could make a song with Yachty and make it be that lyrical, Drake could do it too, no matter who he has on the album. So guys, don't look at this feature list and be like, oh, he's gonna go for modern trap shit. Like, no, we don't know what it's gonna sound like. He can make whatever he wants.
Like, yeah, you can't have expectations going into a Drake album, because that's something that I like about these new Drake experiences, that it feels surprising every time you go into the track list, right? You think you know what's gonna happen, and then after that you get a track list that completely counters that. And that's been my sentiment after hearing something like COB in 2021, after hearing something like Honestly Nevermind, hearing Her Loss. I thought I knew what I was going to expect, and then going into the album was a completely different experience. But you and I have a little debt to settle, all right?
We're not gonna settle it officially now. We said we were gonna do it on our live stream that we do. We always do a pre-album stream before the album comes out.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll still shoot out a number for now, a little pre-number.
No.
You don't want to reveal yourself?
If you want to do the final, the final first week sales prediction, because you still owe me money from the Utopia one. I actually got a crazy spot on. That was a good guess.
I think you were like 20K off or something.
No, I got 480. He sold 490.
You're right, because it dropped. I think he sold 485 or something.
It was super close.
But yeah, guys,
we'll do it at the pre-album stream. So just to keep you guys updated with what's going on this week, pre-album stream for Drake's For All the Dogs, that is absolutely happening. That's going to be going down on Thursday night. Right after that, we are going to be doing our live album reaction at 12 a.m. Eastern time for Drake's For All the Dogs. That's going to be a crazy moment for the entire community. Check the pinned comment for that. And then after that, obviously, first thoughts on the day of release. And then after that, album review on the next Monday. So, Drizzy content on the way.
We're here,
finally
guys.
Here. Shout out to everyone that stuck it out with us for this entire rollout. It's been a pleasure covering this album. And guys, it's Drizzy season. So, get locked in. Tell your mothers that the date is on October 6th. It's going to be a fun week, guys. And we're going to be catching you at this week's live stream. Peace out.